Good Monday morning. Welcome to Break the Board Sports. I'm your boy RJ Cash, recapping week 3 of the NFL, week 4 of college football, and looking ahead to week 4 NFL and week 5 college again. BreakTheBoardSports.com. Click that like, hit subscribe for us. We have 2 shows come out every day. We have a baseball show and then something on football helping you become a better handicapper. If you go to BreakTheBoardSports.com, you can buy our picks at R37 a day, but this is more trends, angles, again, to help you become a better handicapper. That is our goal. Very excited. NBA, NHL season coming up. You'll have a basketball show, a hockey show, a football show each and every day. Be putting out 2 to 3 shows of content a day, anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour, depending. But let's get it right into it. Monday morning quarterback, reviewing the weekend, and we're going to start off in college. Wild weekend in college and pro football. I want to go to Friday night's college game, Tulsa at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, huge favorite, right? Closed at 11.5. They lose outright at home to Tulsa by 7, 19-12. And the first question you got to ask yourself is, why is Gundy still there? I mean, this Oklahoma State team has fell so far from grace. I mean, this is a team just 2-3 years ago was in the Fiesta Bowl beating Notre Dame, and now they're an absolute mess. Something to keep an eye on. I know he's got a lot built up in the bank account there, but listen, at some point in time, boosters want to win. Iowa, they were laying 2.5 at Rutgers. A lot of people thought Rutgers could get across the finish line. We stayed away from the game. Iowa 38-28, setting up a huge meeting with them this coming Saturday night where they'll be facing Indiana. Indiana will be going on the road to Iowa, and this is going to be a phenomenal game. But let's talk about Indiana. Kirk Cignetti, I tell you what, he put it on Bielema, Illinois, 63-10, a 63 spot by the Hoosiers. And anybody that thought them and quarterback Mendoza was a fluke, a flash, last year was not a fluke. This team is good. But now, look ahead line, and we'll get into this more Wednesday and Thursday. But Indiana laying 7.5 on the road to Iowa, maybe a little bit of home dog barking there. That proves to be a great one. We're going to get into that one. We'll have all kinds of trends and angles for you on Wednesday and Thursday. Arizona State, they go into Baylor. What a tough, great game. I had said I would lean Baylor money line. Good thing didn't give that out because that would have been a loser. Arizona State gets the win 27-24. Now Friday night, got Arizona State hosting TCU, laying 2.5. That promises to be an absolute great one. One that we did have money on and we gave out to everybody, and it was just a heartbreaker. Boise State beats Air Force 49-37. We were getting 11.5. We lose by 12. But here's the worst part. Air Force scores with 2.5 minutes left. Now you have Boise State with the ball. They're just trying to run the ball, run the clock out. Air Force, no way to stop it. And Boise State rips off like a 76-yard touchdown to get the cover. Just a bad beat on that one. Not a good look for us. Duke, we like that. Money line didn't give it out. Remember, we said it was a lean on the show. They continued their dominance against NC State, 45-33. In a very sneaky game this weekend. Duke is on the road at Syracuse, and they're laying 6. Unbelievable that they're laying 6 on the road to Syracuse, because Syracuse goes into Clemson and wins 34-21. The game was never in doubt. Dabo hopping up and down in press conferences all week, talking about you can't fire him. He's built Clemson. They're still Clemson. He's still him. You got smoked at home by Syracuse, dude. 16.5-point favorites. A lot of sharps, a lot of respected people in the space gave out Clemson minus 16.5. Hey, look, I'm not any better. I had him in a money line parlay with the Chiefs, Seahawks, and Packers. We'll get to that Packers game in a little bit. What an absolute kick in the teeth that was. But Clemson, they're just a mess, just an absolute mess. I don't really know what to make of that team. Obviously, their college football playoffs are done, and quite frankly, their ACC playoff hopes are done. There would have to be total carnage. And when I look at like the Miamis, the Florida States, the Georgia Techs, there's just no way for that much carnage to happen for them to even be a part of it. So just craziness there. I'll be interested to see what comes out and happens this weekend in the media with Dabo and company. Nebraska, we pushed that out. We gave them +3. I said, buy the hook. You people that hate buying hooks or buying points and criticize me for it, well, it came in play because it got us the push. 30-27, Michigan wins. And here's all I got to say, Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola. I was on your side. I was on the bandwagon. I said, this is the time. You suck. Sit down. You'll never be a top 10 team in the Big Ten. Go on somewhere. You'll beat up on the Minnesotas or the Marylands. But if you can't beat Michigan now, Nebraska, you'll never beat them. It'll never, ever happen. Just an absolute distressed team on that one. Oregon, 41-7. Oregon State ends up covering the 35. Remember, we gave the lean there. We said it would be Oregon State or nothing there, +35. We gave out Army. That was a loser. We lost that in overtime. Just an absolute heartbreaker, 45-38. Arkansas, they host Notre Dame this week. They're catching 6.5 at home, but they go to Memphis and lose 31-32. Memphis is able to get the 1-point upset win. Great win for Memphis in that program. Remember, I'd said, if you wanted to do something with Arkansas, moneyline parlay, I wouldn't hate you for it, but I really didn't like the game. And this is why Memphis, a live dog, wins. Speaking of live dogs, Texas Tech goes into Utah, and we didn't bet the game. I did say, I would say Utah would win, but I didn't want to lay 3. I really didn't know a lot about either team. Texas Tech puts together the super team with NIL, 21 returning starters, but they're Texas Tech, right? Texas Tech left no doubt, folks. Absolutely no doubt. Texas Tech 34-10 as they go into Utah and win that game. Just an absolute butt kicking they gave. So look forward to seeing if Texas Tech, if they can really keep that moving. We'll look later in the week, look ahead to their opponents and whatnot. But just an absolutely dominating win. Ole Miss, no starting quarterback, no problem. That's why I didn't want to hop on the Tulane train, even though all the money and tickets were on Ole Miss. Ole Miss, 45-10, crush them. Auburn, Oklahoma, it went to 7. We said buy the hook. Again, for you people that don't like buying points or buying half points, well, it came in handy. We cover Auburn +7.5. They fall 24-17 to Oklahoma. For you people that laid 6.5 with Oklahoma, you got very lucky with the safety there at the end. But, hey, a win is a win is a win, and you take them however you can get them in betting because, trust me, sometimes there are just brutal bad beats. So whenever there's a win, you take it. I know a lot of people were talking about Washington State. Take the 20. No way. Washington, 59-24. They put it on the Cougs. And now it sets up Ohio State going to Washington this coming Saturday. We're going to get into that game later in the week. Ohio State opens up a 9.5-point favorite. Look forward to seeing how that line moves throughout the week. This will be Ohio State's first test on the road. Washington, a very tough place to play. Obviously, Ohio State's the more talented team, but it'll be interesting to see how that game unfolds. Miami beats Florida 26-7. Here on a Monday morning, I have no idea how Billy Napier still has a job. No clue whatsoever. Florida, pick up the phone, call somebody, call a master recruiter, call a master head coach, something. I would reach out to Prime that I really think you need somebody that can recruit down there in Florida. Billy Napier, he's got a little bit of talent, but like DJ Lagway, he's not the answer. Just all kinds of issues down there in Florida. I am shocked that Billy Napier still has a job. They welcome in Texas next. So the beat goes on for them. Speaking of Coach Prime, they cover the 12.5, beat Wyoming 37-20. Cal upset by the 14-point home dog, San Diego State. Man's best friend is the home dog. San Diego State puts it on them. Now Cal goes to Boston College. They're catching 6.5 as they have to fly across the country this week. A game we gave out and it cashed for us. USC wins 45-31 over Michigan State. We were getting 18.5. Sparty Nation cashes for us. Thank you very much. Saturday was a rough day, but we ended it right with the cash with Michigan State. And also Hawaii. We had Hawaii +3 for a double unit. They lose by 2 to Fresno in a game that we really had to have. So Michigan State and Hawaii close out the night for us. Run down through the week 2 odds. And again, we're going to have shorts each and every day breaking down what these games look like, giving you all the betting angles, statistics, trends, and leans for the week. But Friday night, Florida State. Next week, like a week after this weekend, they have that big matchup with Miami, but can't overlook Virginia. And the line, I really think they're baiting you here when you first look at Florida State, 6.5-point favored Friday night at UVA. Another good one Friday night. Arizona State at home will be laying 2.5 to TCU. The Houston Cougars will be at Oregon State laying 11.5. Flip to Saturday, Notre Dame. They can't lose anymore. Arkansas just got upset by Memphis. Now Notre Dame's got to go on the road to Arkansas laying 6.5. Remember, I told you that Duke at Syracuse. Syracuse coming off the big Clemson win. Duke laying 5.5, 6 in some spots in the Carrier Dome. Fishy line there. USC and Illinois. USC's first really true test on the road, but I don't know how much of a test it is. You would think the Fighting Bielemas and the Illini would come back out and just have an awesome performance after getting waxed by Indiana, but you never know. Right now, USC laying 6.5. Kansas State 1-3 this year, a horrible season. They welcome in Scott Frost and the undefeated Central Florida Knights there. Right now, Kansas State laying 5.5. Louisville, this opened up 6.5. It's already down to 3 at Pittsburgh. Another one we talked about, Indiana at Iowa, opened up 6.5. It's already up to 7.5. The Hoosiers laying 7.5 at Iowa in a football game, something I never thought I'd see. That Ohio State line opened up 9.5. It's down to 8.5 with the Buckeyes at Washington. Utah coming off the big home thrashing by Texas Tech. Utah's laying 10.5 at West Virginia this week. We talked about Boston College laying 6.5 to Cal. Auburn, another tough test, heads to College Station. They'll face Texas A&M with Texas A&M laying 6.5. Now we get into some goodies. LSU at Ole Miss. A little shocked by the line right now. Ole Miss laying 2 at home to LSU. We'll see if Ole Miss has the quarterback back. Tennessee opened up a 10.5-point favorite. It's down to 9.5 as they're on the road at Mississippi State. Iowa State, the Cyclones will be at home, welcoming in undefeated Arizona, a matchup of 2 undefeated teams in the Big 12. Iowa State will be laying 6.5. The 2 biggest games of the weekend. Penn State hosting Oregon. Penn State right now a 3.5-point favorite. We're going to dig it. We got a show dedicated to that game and the Alabama-Georgia game. At Georgia opened up 4.5. They're down to 3.5. Again, we'll have a show based solely off of the Oregon-Penn State game and the Alabama-Georgia game, giving you all the betting angles and trends on that. Again, Break the Board Sports. Click that like button. Let's hop over to the NFL real quick, where we got the Miami Dolphins Thursday. The Bills take care of them 31-21, but the Dolphins get the cover. Another home dog. Again, I always tell you, man's best friend's the home dog. Carolina Panthers, 30-0 over the Falcons. The Falcons looked all out of sorts. They were an absolute mess. Where do the Falcons go from here? Now, this coming week, the Falcons are a 3.5-point home favorite as Washington comes to town. Washington put on the Raiders 41-24. And just to talk about the Raiders, I understand what Pete Carroll, I think Pete Carroll's a very good head coach. I've heard that there's it's a big boy locker room and all that. And while I appreciate that, and I would assume Geno Smith is a bridge, 2 things that still are not right. The Raiders defense sucks, okay? And again, I think Carroll will get that better, but they just don't have enough pieces, right? And then the other part of it is these teams, I watched the same thing with the Jets. I mean, they had a comeback and forward at the end. These franchise, and even Pete Carroll, I like Pete Carroll with the Raiders, but he's not a long-time answer coach. These Raiders, Jets, even the Titans, you may have 2, 3, 4 players. I mean, it's the NFL, everybody does, right? But when I look at them, top to bottom, organization as far as owner, general manager, head coach, coordinators, chemistry, culture, these teams are a mess. I mean, the Jets had a couple good years with Bill Parcells. That was back in the late 90s. I mean, we've had 25 years, and then before Parcells, the Jets sucked going all the way back to Joe Namath. Like, and no offense to Aaron Glenn, but you hired the same guy. You went Robert Saleh to Aaron Glenn. You hired the same guy, a really good defensive coordinator that isn't a head coach, right? Again, offense matters. Like, it's just an offensive league. In the Jets, their quarterback situation is an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. And so when I look at them, when I look at Cleveland, when I look at the Raiders, like, these teams have been the same for so long. I just don't know when it ever changes. And I don't think it does, because the franchises must be making so much money that winning just doesn't matter. Like Tennessee, you drafted Cam Ward, but the head coach, you know what I mean? Like, I look at people like Minnesota, San Francisco, no matter who you insert at quarterback, they're winning games. Like, that speaks volumes, right? So those franchises, you're just a mess. Colts keep on rolling 41-20 over the Titans. Bengals, a lot of people love the Bengals as a dog. Heard a lot during the week. Minnesota, wish I gave them out on the money line, but they didn't even need the money line. They rolled 48-10. Carson Wentz going back home to his childhood team, crushing it. We did have Pittsburgh. They get the win 21-14. Patriots, all kinds of turnovers. Rodgers had some good throws. Pittsburgh defense finally showed up to be Pittsburgh's defense. Now, if Pittsburgh's defense can play like that, like they did this week, and granted it was against the Patriots, I don't think they're good. But if they can play like that, and then Rodgers can keep doing what he's doing, Pittsburgh is going to be a dangerous team down the stretch. But I'm still cautiously optimistic about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I picked them to make the playoffs. I don't really know how much of a run they can make. But I do think they're a good, solid football team. This week, they're in that Ireland game, the 9:30 a.m. game overseas, them in Minnesota. Can't wait to get into that one on Thursday and break it down for you. Texans go to 0-3. Their dominance against the Jaguars is done. Texans, a trendy dog. Them and the Rams, they fall Jacksonville 17-10. Trevor Lawrence looked very good. Texans were picked to win that division. They're now 0-3 and are just in a whole lot of trouble. 3 games back of the Colts already. Speaking of trendy dogs, the Rams, a horrible bad beat. We had them plus 3.5. Line up for the field goal. Whether they make the field goal, miss the field goal, doesn't matter. Really shouldn't have been there. They let the Eagles back in the game. They were kicking the Eagles' butts. And then you say, well, it doesn't matter if you make or miss the field goal, got the cover. It's 3 seconds left. Even if it's a block, running it back. I mean, what's the odds, and what's Philly do? They run it back. A just horrible bad beat. The worst beat of the weekend, though, for us, if the Green Bay Packers won, me personally, I have a week that I haven't had. I've had good weeks, but this would have been a weekend to remember. Had the Packers had won, they're up 10-0 with 3 minutes and like 38 seconds to go, and everything that had to go wrong went wrong, including the block kick, including letting Flacco get in position, that pick that Jordan Love threw. I really have no idea what he was doing there or what he was looking at. The whole thing was just a mess and fell apart extremely quick there for the Packers. Baker Mayfield is just a beast. He continues to come back and thrive. Bucks had a big lead. Jets find their way back in the game, and yet Baker gets a field goal at the buzzer. Bucks win 29-27. Denver, we gave out Denver +3. Felt good about it. Things were going great. They lose at the buzzer 23-20 to the Chargers. Denver, one of those overrated teams. Chargers keep finding ways to win. It's unbelievable. I mean, we pushed out in that game, but it felt like a loss. The Chargers just keep finding ways to win. Now the Chargers are going to end up going to the Giants this next week, as they'll be laying 5.5. Seattle, never a doubt against the Saints, 44-13. You got to, not that the quarterback position is going to change everything, but you got to wonder, when's Kellen Moore going to go to Shaw, the quarterback? I mean, Spencer Rattler's not an NFL quarterback. He's not even an NFL backup. I'm not really sure what the Saints are doing there or what they're trying to prove, but just not the right guy behind the helm whatsoever. Niners, again, all they do is win games. We had Cardinals, Niners 16-15 beat them. The Bears, we had the Bears in the teaser with the Chiefs for a double unit. Should have played the Bears straight all over Dallas, 31-14. Dallas is just a mess. And now to make matters worse, they got Micah Parsons and a pissed off Packer team coming in Sunday night. We'll get into that game later in the week. Chiefs 22-19. They get back in the winner's circle. But I got to tell you right now, the Chiefs host Baltimore this weekend, and I don't see any way that Baltimore doesn't beat them by double digits. I can't see it. I think if you find the 3 right now, you lay it with Baltimore. That's what it was last night. If Baltimore is impressive against the Lions, you'll see it drop. Speaking of which, Baltimore tonight will be laying 4.5 right now is the line for the Ravens as they battle the Detroit Lions here on Monday Night Football. And just to update it right now, FanDuel again, Ravens laying 4.5, 56% of bets to the Ravens, 44% to the Lions, 73% of the handle on the Ravens, 27% on the Lions. You're over under 53.5, getting enormous play to the over 76% of tickets and 71% of the handle. BreakTheBoardSports.com. Again, Monday morning quarterback, just giving a little talk, but as the rest of the day goes on and through the week, be giving out shorts talking about betting trends and angles. Monday morning, we just do a little recap and look at the opening lines. Let's hop into those NFL lines for next week. Thursday night, going to be a good one. Cardinals laying 1.5 to the Seahawks. You're over under 43.5. Right now, it's all Seahawks money all the time. Our first international game, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Vikings Steelers. Vikings laying 1.5. You're over under 41.5. No big line movements there. Eagles laying 3 at the Bucks. 96% of the money on the Eagles, 4% on the Bucks. I'll tell you this right now. We'll get into it later, but I love the Bucks. I think the Eagles finally fall. I don't think the Bucks. I think the Bucks got the firepower again. The Rams just choked that game away. Bills will host the Saints. I don't know how you could take the Saints, but if you do, you're getting 15.5. Huge spread there. Your over under is 48.5. New England at home is a 4.5 point favorite to Carolina that just waxed the Falcons. You're over under 44.5. Washington, we talked about that at Atlanta. Washington laying 3.5. The big question will be, will Jalen Daniels be back? I don't think there's any reason to rush him back the way Marcus Mariota played. You're over under 45.5 in that one. The Cleveland Browns, can they upset the NFC North 2 weeks in a row? Right now, the lines are laying 8.5. You're over under 45.5. Texans at home, looking for that first win. Can't get an easier opponent, really. They host the Titans, laying 7, over under 39.5. Chargers at the Giants. We talked about that. That's already ticked up. Chargers are laying 6. You're over under 39 or 44.5. Sorry. And all the money and all the bets, as you would figure, are on the Chargers. Jaguars at the 49ers. 49ers laying 4.5. Whether it's Mac Jones, Brock Purdy, Bosa went down. The 49ers just keep on rolling. Kyle Shanahan, just top 3 coach in the league. But I got to tell you, man, if the 49ers could ever stay healthy, I'm convinced they'd be the best team in football. They just cannot get over the injury bug whatsoever. This line opened up 5.5. It's already been bet down as 84% of the handles on the Colts. Opened up 5.5. It's already down to 4.5. Rams laying 4.5 at home to the Colts. You're over under 47.5. Bears, we talked about that impressive win. They'll face the Raiders. Bears laying 1.5 on the road. You're over under 47.5. Ravens and Chiefs, it was 3. It's down to 2.5. I'm telling you, run to the window. Money line's $1.40. Run and bet the Ravens. I just can't see how the Chiefs could beat the Ravens. They really shouldn't have beat. Remember, the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl last year. In week 1, if not by a toe at the end or a heel, the Ravens should have beat the Chiefs there on that last play. Ravens, I think, finally go into Kansas City and get that win. Sunday Night Football, Green Bay laying 5.5, over under 48.5. Packers and Cowboys, I just don't know, health of CeeDee Lamb. We'll see how that goes. Monday Night Football, we get a doubleheader. Jets at the Dolphins. Dolphins laying 2.5. Your over under is 45.5. Broncos will be laying 7.5 to the Bengals. You're over under 44.5, just right off the cuff. I kind of like the Bengals. I don't think the Broncos are in any kind of position to be laying 7.5 to anybody right now. Again, I'm your host, RJ Cash. Go to breaktheboardsports.com. Click on that blog/notes section. Free betting quick hitter notes. Check them out from last week. Again, we put those up. The whole purposes of this is to help you become a better handicapper. We'll have another show coming out later this evening. And then every day of the week, at least 2, some days 3 shows giving you the best betting advice, trends, angles. We'll give you some picks. But again, we want more information to help you become a better handicapper. Less talking, more diving into trends. But this is our Monday Morning Quarterback Show where we do some talking. Again, hope you have a great day. God bless and happy